right, today I'm going to be sharing a look through of the IEW curriculum my 8th grader is going to be using this fall. Welcome to Learning with Boys. My name is Rachel. I am a homeschool mom. I have 4 boys. I actually just graduated my 3rd. So we've been homeschooling for a while, and I've been doing videos for a few years now. So I have videos past and present. But today I'm going to be sharing the IEW curriculum my 8th grader is going to use this fall, modern world history based writing lessons. I do want to tell you that we have been using IEW on and off for many years now, so I am familiar with it. We actually have used this particular themed guide for my 3rd son who just graduated this school year, but he was in 9th. I do think this is more the 6th through 8th themed book you can choose from. So I'm going to turn it around. I'm excited to show you what is inside. But I do want to mention that a lot of people ask where to start. Can I use a theme book? How does the curriculum work? And there is answers, but I would not suggest that you start with a themed book if you are not familiar with IEW at all. There are probably a few options. Definitely, they will tell you the first option is you could purchase the teacher's writing structure and style. And I have the very old version. Like I said, I've been doing this for years. I purchased it used. I know now, I think you can buy the DVDs or you can buy the streaming. But if you don't want to invest in that, I would highly suggest for you and your student that maybe you start with the student structure and style, because really I learned a lot just by sitting through. Actually, it was level A, the first level that we did together with my oldest, and really that's how I learned a lot about the program. And the nice thing about that is Andrew Pudawa is doing the teaching. So now I did look into the structure and style for this particular child because he's not been through it, but he has seen his brother do it. I've done a themed book with him before because I am familiar with how the program works. So we did try level B, because they have a 3-week free trial, which was so helpful. And I'm glad we did that. I really was leaning towards getting the level B, but only because of my personal reasons did I not. I really highly suggest starting there if you cannot get the teachers. But we already had these books, and I already have level C, the streaming, because that's what I purchased for this high schooler that just graduated. So I have that. If I can do a themed book for a year and maybe start on level C the next year or the year after that, is sort of my thought process with my son going into 8th grade, because I couldn't see purchasing level B and then I already had C. And if he goes through B, he would probably have used some theme books anyways and never got to C, is what I think could easily happen. So this is where we're going to start this year. And I do want to share another thing that is very helpful. This would be in the student structure style. If you're watching the DVDs and he's teaching, or in any of the theme books, they do have the composition checklist, which is sort of just your way of grading it. It really gives you clear directions, and I'll show you that here in a minute, of each week exactly what you're going to do. You'll be doing a keyword outline. I'm thinking maybe if you've done enough research on IEW that you've heard that term, and I'll show you what that means. And there'll be some other worksheets as you gradually learn more about the process, learn more about their style, techniques, and things like that. And then there'll be a checklist at the very end for your final draft. So let's turn this camera around and take a look inside the teachers and students. Okay, we're going to take a look inside the teachers and the student guide. Let's start with the teachers. Everything that is in the students will be in the teachers, but I'm just going to make the teachers a short. In the beginning, you will have a blue sheet. It'll be in both books, and it has access to some downloads that will be helpful to you. And then you start with the content. You can see that there are 9 units with 30 lessons total. So 30 weeks is what it will narrow down to. You have a writing from notes, retelling narrative stories, summarizing references, writing from pictures, summarizing multiple references, and then inventive writing, formal essay models, formal critique and response to literature. Then you have some introduction. This rectangle right here is what will be in the student book, and the gray is extra teacher notes, and that's what will be in the teacher's book. So whatever's in gray in this book will not be in the student book. So lots of notes for the teachers to be reading. Again, this is still just the introduction. Always important to read through that with any curriculum. They have a scope and sequence, which will, again, it breaks it down for you a little bit more in the units, what you'll be talking about, the style you might be introduced to, vocabulary words. There is a whole vocabulary section in the back, and literature suggestions. So we will not be doing their literature, but they do have very good choices for their books. All right, and then the first week, again, the gray is for the teacher, and this was what will be in the student book. Gives you the assignment schedule for 4 days. And then one of the first things they do is have you read over some things about structure and style, give you some note making and outlines, just talking about that. And there's some extra teacher notes that you can add. Now the answers will be in the guide. There's some, and again, notes. You'll have your first paragraph and a keyword outline and answers. Now, they may choose different words. These are just suggested answers, but you would want them not to pick a word like and or is or something like that. You'd want it to be something that would benefit them remembering what the sentence and the paragraph will be about. The first week is pretty basic. You will do your vocabulary, and then you pretty much just have to write the outline and then say it out loud. And then read through the outline, changing it to sentences. And so you're rewording this paragraph is pretty much what you're doing. So, and then it just gets into more writing, different paragraphs, adding in the ly word is one of the first things that they do. And then you'll have some extra pages. All the answers are in the teacher's guides. These little lines will be blank in the student book. And then again, here's your composition checklist. It's very basic at the beginning of this book. It'll be a lot more in depth towards the end of the book. So they'll learn a lot through just this themed guide. And even if it's things that they're familiar with, I think writing about different subjects is helpful. So I think he'll enjoy the history subjects from this book. Let's take a look at the student. I'll give you a little bit more in-depth in here. So again, you have the blue sheet, you have your contents at the beginning, you get to the first lesson, and so this is that page that had the gray notes on it. They'll just have the white sheet. They don't get the teacher's notes. It does mention the literature suggestion down here, and then just read. Pretty much this is week 1 that I showed you. Let me jump in here to, let's do week 9. And this is a summarizing a reference, American Revolution. And as you see, there's 4 days. This is penciled in. Like I said, my son did use this book. I have started erasing a lot of things, but I thought I would keep a few of my notes in here for him and for myself, but also to show you that I would mark this so I could visually see, okay, yes, we did this or he did this. And then maybe see mom, if you get to this before I do. I have a couple see moms over here. So I have no problem writing notes to my kids in books. And so one of the first things they'll do is read this before they even jump into the paragraph. And then obviously it's a much longer paragraph. And then they'll do the notes. They'll have some extra style practice. They also have vocabulary words, which will be in the back. There are quizzes in the back, and there's answers in the teacher's guide that I just showed you. Here's another. I'm showing you this mainly for all my notes that I had in here that, like I said, sometimes writing a little extra note to your child in case they get to it before you do. It helps if they get ahead and go ahead and read whatever they need to for that day. And they'll have what I would call work pages in here. So yes, they are making a keyword outline, but they are going over new techniques. This was talking about a quality dress-up adjective, but it's also talking about some banned words, like they will help you not use the word good or bad, and they want you to give different examples for that. And then they give you some of ideas that might relate to the story to throw some words in there. And you can use your vocab words also. Strong verb, dress up. So this is sort of a work pages that will help you in finalizing, coming up with your own wording for this. Of course, you're going to be using your keyword outline. That's your goal, but this will give you more ideas. And then they'll have a composition checklist again. And then it just builds to the point where you're going to be doing a paper that has like 2 to 3 different source texts that you'll be writing from. It goes pretty in depth with these. All right, I hope this video was helpful. I'm actually very excited about my son using it this school year. I do want to say, if you have any questions, feel free. I would love to chat with you. Also, I do want to let you know that I probably will do an actual review, maybe even walk you through a week of this in the future. I try to share things throughout the school years to give you a little bit more look of what is involved in the different curriculum that we will be using. So I will definitely do that with IEW. We are using a Fix-It book this school year also for his grammar. So if you're new here and you enjoy homeschool content, I would love for you to subscribe and join us here. And if this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. All right, I do appreciate you all watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful week.